Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. Today, I want to show you what the Rupes XC-2 or the XTRA CUT Compound can do for you. It's a rapid removal correction cream, and it boasts to do some extreme cutting with a low swirl, high gloss finish. Now this here can be used on the rotary polisher with a wool pad, gear-driven or random orbital polisher with foam and microfiber pads. Engineered for performance on very hard clear coat, gel coats, so boat RVs, high solid industrial materials such as countertops and aviation, and much more. With a coarse compound, you're going to be able to see and feel the grainy abrasives within the formula, and you'll see that as I spread it out onto this test panel if the camera focuses in correctly. 33 fluid ounces for somewhere around $60, depending on where you find it. I ordered mine from Detailed Image. You can also find it on eBay, AutoGeek, and many other places. Not a sponsored video, so I'm not going to put a link down below, an affiliate link, but you'll be able to find it in the mentioned areas. On the test panel here, I'm going to take a couple different grits and sheets of sandpaper, 600, 800 grit, 1200 or 1500 grit, whatever I grab, and we're going to mark up the hood. It already has damage and sand marks on it, but we're going to add to that, and then we'll run a pass through it with two different types of polishers and pads, and we'll team it up with the XC2 and see what it is capable of. Most of the harshest compounds can cut through 800 grit or even 1000 and 1500 grit like butter. 600 grit is pushing it. Not a lot of correction fluids out there that can correct that type of damage, but we will see shortly. Okay, so this is what the panel looks like now. It's marked up everywhere. We have deeper scratches that already existed. We have the fresh sand marks that I put in there. A true test for the XC2. To start off, we're going to team the XC2 up with a rotary polisher, and attached to that is a hybrid wool cutting pad. So obviously, when we're done with the cutting step or cutting process with the XC2, we're going to have to step down and finish it off with a finishing polish and a very light, non-aggressive foam pad, a finishing pad. One trip down through this mess and one return trip back for each of the polishers and pads. We'll see if one teams up with the XC2 better. Does a wool pad team up with it better? A wool pad cuts and is aggressive and runs cooler, which is safer for your clear or your single stage, but then you're going to have that finishing off step. A microfiber pad runs a lot hotter, and I'm going to show you that. But it also finishes down a bit better, gives you the cut and the gloss in one fell swoop as well. I have found that the XC2 wipes off hard on some surfaces, not all surfaces, and is better if you grab a panel prep to remove the polish residue. Hardly any dusting, even with the rotary polisher, which is good to see. let me bring you guys in a bit closer. The open time or the cycle time is decent for an extreme cut compound such as this with the low dusting. So that's impressive as well. And really, it did a great job throughout the whole panel. The 600 grit had a little bit of a struggle. Great improvement. Still impressive nonetheless. All the way through, it did exactly what it advertised to do with the wool pad and a rotary to start. With the swirl finder, we'll have a better look, and we can see a little bit of the haziness left behind from the extra cut and a wool pad, and a little bit of the sand marks that were not removed in the 600 grit area. All of that completely normal. Now we switch gears and grab a long throw polisher with a microfiber pad, and we'll team that up with the XC2. See how it performs the exact same way. We're going to run the polisher down through and back with the same pressure, same polisher speed, there and about. And we'll try and treat the two areas exactly the same, see how or if there are any differences. With the microfiber pad on the long throw polisher, it will run hotter in the area you're correcting quite a bit compared to a wool pad and rotary because of, well, mostly the airflow through the fibers. This will really test the cycle time and the dusting of the extra cut. To stay completely transparent, unless you work on a lot of boats, gel coats, and hard surfaces on cars, I rarely do break out the extra cut compound, but it is very important to have it in the arsenal for when you do. Sure, you can use a cutting compound, just a regular, maybe easily found or locally bought compound, but it could dust, short cycle time, and it may need 28,000 passes to get those imperfections out, spiking temperatures. And yes, leave your polishers come to a complete stop before pulling them away from the panel. Wait till the oscillation and the rotation stops. A little bit of dusting compared to the first work area. Again, the spiking temperatures will dry the area out a little bit quicker and shorten that cycle time, which leads to just a little bit of dusting, nothing out of control. Let me set the camera back down and make sure I have the residue wiped free from the panel. Then I'll bring you in for a closer look. It's done well with the microfiber pad and a random orbital or a dual action polisher, and it finishes down a bit better. You don't have the haziness as you do from the first area where we had the rotary and a wool pad. Also quite similar with the results and performance in the first section when it comes to that 600 grit sandpaper. Really tough to remove that, would take multiple passes. If you're using a microfiber pad, you would stop and leave that area cool down a bit before coming back and attacking it a bit more. Also, a paint depth gauge would be highly recommended to keep track of the clear or single stage you're removing. Okay, so I have to clean up this panel anyway for future testing. So I'm going to do that with the random orbital polisher, dual action polisher, and the microfiber pad. And we're going to show you with the heat gun here, with the thermal meter, how hot this panel can get. I've already shown you in other videos that a wool pad and rotary just slightly spikes temperatures within 5 or 6 degrees. With a dual action polisher and a microfiber pad, those temperatures can spike well beyond the safe 20-degree window that we have, up to 120, 130 sometimes, even higher outside in the sun. Just something to keep in mind and keep track of. With the camera zooming in and out, not sure which surface to zoom in on, eventually you'll be able to see we are in the high teens when the rest of the ambient temperature of the panel is 60, 65, so that's a huge difference and a lot of stress on the surface. I hope these videos help a bit when deciding which correction fluids to pick up for your arsenal. If the videos help, give it a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell. That'll let you know when we have new material and content for you. But yeah, I mean, it does everything it advertises to do. Quite impressive in its cut. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate. Brian from Apex Detail, catch you in the next video.